And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon platform, welcome. Make sure you guys hit that follow button. You'll see it either here in this corner or down below. You also will see the books by our next guest, including his new bestseller. We're excited to welcome back celebrity publicist and best-selling author, Mr. Angelo Ellerbee. We're talking about his brand new book, Before I Let You Go. It's available now in paperback and hardcover and the Kindle edition. I have the Kindle edition here with me. We're going to talk to Mr. Ellerbee not only about the continued success of the book, but the messages he wants to share. And one thing you've heard him say in our previous conversations is the importance of taking the stairs. We're going to talk to him more about that and why, especially in today's culture, where people want things so quickly, with a learning process that we can be able to take by taking the journey along. We also want to welcome those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. If you guys have any questions or comments for Mr. Ellerbee, you can put those in the chat. And I want to say thank you. I was saying to Mr. Ellerbee, you guys made our previous conversation this week the #1 media show here on Amazon. I want to thank you guys for that. We have it highlighted right now in the carousel on Amazon, so you guys can get the hardcover, the paperback, or the Kindle edition today. But Mr. Ellerbee, welcome back to the broadcast.
It's always a pleasure, Cyrus, being with you on the morning of Breakfast with Books. Thank you.
That's right. That's right. Starting the day off right. So, Mr. Ellerbee, you are no stranger to success. But I was curious when I was prepping for this conversation with you today and thinking about the conversation we've had so far since the book came out. Could you have imagined success in this area? I mean, you are a best-selling author in multiple genres. What has that been like for you to embrace that?
It's all been very amazing. Have I been prepared for it? Yes, I have.
Mhm.
I've been prepared for success at a very early age. I'm a believer in God. And if I think it, he always told me that I can do it. So I think it, I can do it. I'm not surprised by the success that I've had over the 55 years that I've been in this entertainment industry. I'm a believer. I believe in God. I believe in myself and my abilities to be great, greater, and then the greatest of what I go to do. And I'm not trying to sound out the box with regards to my success or my success story. I just believe and know that when I give things over to him, all things are going to be fine. And things have been fine for the past 55 years of my career. Think it. I want everybody to think it. If you think what you want to do, then you can do what you want to do. There's nothing to be afraid of but trying it. If you don't like it, then you can go to something else, but at least try it. Think it, you can do it.
Mr. Ellerbee, what you just said in many ways really sums up this book, right? Because when I was thinking about it, even as I was bookmarking parts of it on my Kindle, that what you are showing us, and even now I look at the title differently. I have asked you before about the title. As I'm actually reading the book now, I'm getting a better understanding for me as a reader about the title Before I Let You Go, because a lot of people look at you and they say they want what you have. But the question then becomes, are they willing to do what you do, as you were just alluding to get it? What has that been like for you to show people, especially in the world we live in today where we do want things so quick, the importance of, if you really want success and the longevity that you've had, that it really does take work and a process?
I've always told people I don't drink instant coffee. I drink brewed coffee. I don't want anything instant. I don't want anything to come fast. I want to earn it, and I want to sweat for it, and I want to apply myself to it. Anything that is a given is something that I don't want. I've always been taught by my mom and by my very strong friends that have been very positive in my life is to take my time with it. It is not about you. It's about the timing of it. It's not about because you want it to happen today. He's going to tell you when it's going to happen. Everybody always asks me, what's your plans for the future? I don't make any plans for the future. He makes the plans for the future for me. It's just like this book. I never thought that I was going to sit back and write the 4th book, but it was something that I think that he wanted me to do. And so therefore I did it. Nothing in the world is worth having if you don't work for it. You got to work for it.
Yeah, I think that is such a great point, and I have not done it before. But Mr. Ellerbee, I want to thank you for the shout out in your book as well. That means a lot. It's been great working with you over the years. Also great to call you a friend. But I think as people have gotten to know you, one thing they know about you is that you are about your business. And I think the fact that people who you've worked with that have had success with you really understand that you want the best for them, but you're about your business. I mentioned to you before we went live here that I want to talk about the table of contents to kind of whet people's appetite. But there was one thing that was really important I thought about with you, and that is the chapter, the Department of Team Building and Engagement. I want to talk about team because I have found in my life definitely the people I surround myself with matters. The people that I work with on projects matters. How important has that been for you in that correlation of not only team building but also engagement?
I've always said, and in all of my interviews, I've had more employees than the Empire State Building at steps. And I never ever wanted to return back to my mother's basement where I began. And no one can understand where my heart and my mind lies at in terms of greatness. When I'm great, they're great. And when you don't understand the mission of my greatness and where I'm trying to take my company and where I'm trying to take you, I would rather let you go than for you to stay within my camp. And I know that you are poison to me.
Yeah.
If you can't feel what I'm feeling about a project, if you don't desire to strengthen the energy and become excited about, I don't care if it's Diana Ross or it's someone less of importance that one may see. Everyone deserves to have your undivided attention, and everyone deserves for you as the representative to lift them and to go about to sell whatever it is that they're trying to sell. If it's a book, if it's a song, if it's a CD, whatever it may be, if they trust in you and they give you your dollars and your cents, you don't have an opinion. I remember one of my employees said, well, I really don't like the record. And I said, well, you ain't going to buy the record, are you? So what you have to do is find something on listening to this record that you like or create something. It doesn't make a difference to me. But as long as you're under my employ, you're going to sell this record by any means necessary.
Love that. And I think that is such a big point. You mentioned something, Mr. Ellerbee, that has taken me a little bit of time, and I'm better at it now. And I think our audience can relate to this. Sometimes we can want things for people more than they want it for themselves. And we may have a connection with someone that we want to see rise with us, right? But that's not enough. And that can be frustrating and hurtful at times. Do you find that for yourself that is one of the things that you're the most proud of? So being able to choose the right people to work with you on your vision.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's very important for me. I don't want anyone at my dinner table that don't deserve to be at my dinner table.
Yeah.
If I invite you, then I have thoroughly investigated your worth to me and my worth to you, because it's a two-way street. It's not a one-way street.
Yeah.
I don't want negativity in my life. I want what is positive energy. I want what would be a togetherness of working together, growing together, and being together for the cause. If you are going to sit at my dinner table, then I want to know that you're not there just for the dinner, but you're there for the invitation to be in my company and to learn from me, and for me to learn from you as well. So it's really, I think you have to be very selective as to who you put into your life. Everybody shouldn't be a part of your life. I'm very selective.
Right.
I go through the courtships, the engagement, and then the friendship.
Gotcha.
I have to spend time in knowing that you're not a snake, that you're not a demon, that you're not going to be jealous, you're not going to be envious, but we're going to grow together so that you never have to follow that path.
Love that. The Chosen Pen Publishing, hello to you on Facebook. They said so true. I want to actually read something from your introduction, Mr. Ellerbee, and we talk about it. Let me first say, though, for those who are just tuning in, welcome. You're watching Cyrus Webb Presents. This is our Breakfast Book segment here on Amazon Live. So if you guys are new to us on the Amazon side, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button in this corner down below to stay connected with all of our programming 6 days a week. We're joined today by celebrity publicist and best-selling author, Mr. Angelo Ellerbee. We're talking about his brand new book, his newest bestseller, Before I Let You Go. It's available in hardcover, paperback, and Kindle edition here on Amazon. We also want to welcome those tuning in on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X as well. This is what you said in the introduction of the book, and I want our audience to think about this when we discuss it, Mr. Ellerbee. You said about people. So many people looking into the world of glamour and celebrity and what it takes to create a star think it's about grooming, looks, or refinement. But artist development, or the development of the full presence of a public figure, or any personality, any person trying to find and define their sense of self, is so much more than fancy clothes, dramatic makeup, or controlled interview skills. It is about taking clay and molding a star, not a celebrity or a famous person, but a star in any realm, in any field, who knows how to shine. And I know this because the first artist I ever developed was me. I thought that was so profound.
Thank you.
Because a lot of times we don't think about that no matter where we are, we're always having to work on self. How has that helped you? Hello, Anissa. How has that helped you to know that you are the first person that you have to deal with?
Well, it first came from my mother. You know, my mother taught me all the importance and the right ingredients that she poured into me. She poured into me about style, about look, about attitude, about living a life. She wanted me to live a right life. I've just taken the ingredients from my mom and incorporated it into this book and everything that I go to do. I want people to engage in themselves. I want them to, and excuse the redundancy, to fall romantically in love with themselves.
Yeah.
I want them to feel comfortable about whatever they're going out to want to conquer. If you're not feeling good about you, how is somebody else going to feel good about you? If you don't believe in you, how can you sell to them your belief?
Yeah.
There's no belief there. So I think that you have to empower yourself to love yourself and demonstrate that and allow people to feel your strength and your energy and your desire to want to win. And that's why it's so very important to go back to your second question. That's why it's so very important that you select the right people in your life so that same energy is continuous in your life. You don't need anyone to block your blessings. And I think a lot of times, particularly the people that I'm working, young people that I work with now, they block their blessings because they know every damn thing. They don't want, and I always tell people, listen before you ask the question. Just listen to what's taking place, what the person is saying to you. You don't know it all. I'm 67 years old and I don't know it all. But if you're beginning in this race and you have read all these books about the do's and the don'ts of the industry, lay back and see if any of the reading that you've done is conflicting with this person that you're speaking to and that is guiding your career at that stage of the game. Don't become accusatory. Don't blame them because you read Donald Passmore's book that says everything you need to know about the music industry. You have to allow people to demonstrate their good, the bad, and the indifferent in order for you to go and grow by.
You mentioned earlier the 50 plus years you've been in this industry, Mr. Ellerbee. That in itself, in the world we live in today, is remarkable and commendable. But it also, I'm sure people wonder what's the key. When you're talking to people and they ask you about how you've done it, what do you think, at least, is part of the reason why you've had the longevity you've had?
I really do think it has a lot to do with my faith.
Okay.
I think it has a lot to do with what was poured into me from my family. And then it was just self-determination. I don't like losing. I'm very competitive. And I'm not competitive with anyone. I'm competitive with myself.
Yeah.
I can pat myself on the back when I know I do a good job. I can pat myself on the back when I've done a major thing for a major artist. It's really important for me to fight the demons and conquer everything else. No one and nothing is going to stand in the way of what I believe is to be my success or the success of our artists.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't mean to name drop here, Mr. Ellerbee, and not meaning to. I mean, just because you're here to say this, but hearing you say that, I thought about. I have, and I want our audience to know when they see me interviewing certain people, like I would never have interviewed James Mtume if it was not for Mr. Ellerbee. I would not have ever interviewed Dionne Warwick if it was not for Mr. Ellerbee. I would never have interviewed Melba Moore if it wasn't for Mr. Ellerbee. I never would have interviewed people like Lenny Williams, who my mom still. That's the only reason why now she listens to the show, I think. Because of Lenny Williams being on here. But I said all that to say Robert Q. Bell. I could go through the list. But the thing that Mr. Ellerbee and I have talked about off air before, that I don't think a lot of people realize, Mr. Ellerbee, the rising stars you've introduced to the world that I never would have heard about. I want to talk about that for a second, because we know the big names, but you have helped to craft the careers of some of emerging artists and rising stars. What has that been like for you to be a part of what they've been able to do?
Well, once I get through their thick heads and they don't think that they are already victory, mm-hmm. and once I strip them of their egos, mm-hmm. and we start from the beginning, we get a better understanding of each other. And they get a better understanding of what ingredients need to go into their career. It ain't about you. It ain't about the artists. It's about your relationships with the people who are going to elevate you to the next level. You have to go in and be courteous and kind, and you got to be loving, and you can't flip the questions back on the interviewer. They asking you the question. You got to look good, because I think when you look good, you feel good. And that's conveying over to the interviewer. There's been many of the emerging artists that I've helped, but a lot of times they block their own blessings because they're so damn hard-headed. They want to do it their way. And I said, well, if you want to do it your way, why are you paying me all this money? You should fire me. If I was you, I would fire me today. And I would hire you to do what you hired me to do. So if you know so much, you need to do so much for yourself. But that's just not the way. That's just not the way. You don't have the relationships that I have. Everyone comes to me and says, oh, Angelo, you can push the button and make this happen. Yeah, I can. But I'm not. You can push the button and you can make it happen. If you want it to happen. No one should do anything for anyone for free. These kids need to understand what it's going to take if you want to be in this business. And that's hard work, determination. Recording a record is recording the record. This is not a part-time job. This is a full-time job. You can't tell me you don't want to do these interviews. You can't tell me you don't want to do the promotion runs. Then what we doing here? And a lot of times they just don't understand. And I think the misfortune of our record companies, they don't employ the development of an artist. They employ what is record development. They want to get them through so they can sell that record. But you can't begin to sell a record 2 weeks before it's released. You got to start talking about a year in advance of training them. And I know days, everything does change and nothing remains the same. But etiquette, mannerisms, professionalism, they don't change. Right. They remain the same. And so that just becomes very important to me, that they understand. I don't care if you're in hip hop, you're in reggae, you're in gospel, whatever it is, your tonality, your delivery, your etiquette, your mannerisms, your dress is all never, ever going to change.
Oh, that's such a great message. And it's such a great point. Thank you so much for saying that, because I think a lot of times people don't realize that it's more than just the recording, more than just writing the book. It is. And let me say this for those who don't know, Mr. Ellerbee has been out here. He is practicing what he preaches. You've done more interviews that I've seen, Mr. Ellerbee, this year than in the over decade I've been working with you.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, that I have.
But that just shows you understand, and that's why you debuted at #1 on Amazon, though. Because you understand what it takes. So you definitely are leading by example. So let's talk about that as we wrap up here. Before I let you go, and people finish this book, what do you want them to take away from it?
I want them to take away the desires to love themselves, their desires to know that they're greater than the greatest. They have the energy to survive. Don't look at failure as it's just happening to you, because it happens to everyone. How do you pick yourself from the failures to make yourself a success? And I give these examples in the book. I use the Dionne Warwicks and the Mary J. Bliges and all these people that have come my way. Nobody was at a rose garden. Everybody went through their trials, their tribulations. Was it drugs? Was it single parent? Was it bankruptcy? What was it that challenged them, but made them understand that they had a certain quality and a certain gift that they've been blessed with to see their way through? Don't beat yourself up. Love yourself and understand what it's like. You know what? Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm not in the best mood. But then I have to go and pray. And then I have to be thankful, because I have to look at somebody else and say, hey, you made it to 67. Hey, the world is talking about your book. Hey, you're doing this, you got to be thankful. Because when you're thankful, it's called upward mobility. It's called advancement. And that's what you want to do to yourself. Don't stand in your own way. And listen to people. People are going to love you, and they're going to become magnets to you because you're a magnet to yourself.
Mr. Ellerbee, I do want to ask you one more thing. I just thought about it as you were just talking. What people don't know, and I want to make sure that this is brought up for those who may have missed it, you have had, we're again working with tremendous talent. You mentioned Dionne Warwick and others, and you've had them being featured in a lot of places. Television, we've turned on television, we've seen them. What was that feature like for you with Ebony? I'm curious about that, to let our audience hear that from you. What was it like for you to have Ebony feature you?
I have to say to you, there's a wonderful young lady that has been working with me. Her name is Tasha Stout, and she's just been a little energy bunny. And when I saw that, I was like, what is this? And I smiled, and I held it up so that my mom can see it in heaven. And I held it up for my sons to see it in heaven. And I said to all of them that are no longer with me, I told you that I wasn't going to stop until, and I'm still going to go on. Just recently, I did an interview for Vogue magazine. And when they called me up to ask me for the interview, I thought it was my sister playing a joke on me. And so when the lady, and then I said, oh, this is real. She says, oh, they've been following me. They've been doing this and they've been doing that. And we made arrangements for an interview next week and a photo shoot next week. I keep telling people, if they don't know God, they need to wake up in the morning and introduce themselves to God and stay consistent with him, because he will be your supplier. He will fulfill each and every level of your life. You just got to believe in him and believe in yourself and watch the movement.
And I'm excited that we get to share your book in our Amazon storefront during the month of September, Mr. Ellerbee. And we're going to be continuing these Breakfast with Books segments. We're going to have one each week in September as well. So we definitely invite you guys to make sure you guys get your copy of the book. We're going to be diving into the book, talking about some of the topics that Mr. Ellerbee has been able to cover in the book. Again, before I let you go, it's available now in paperback. You can get it in hardcover as well as a Kindle edition right here on Amazon. For those joining us on the Amazon side, we have all three in the Amazon carousel. You guys will see there. For those joining us on Facebook and LinkedIn, we have and YouTube, we have the link for you guys to be able to get it from there. For those joining us on X, we'll put it in the comment section for you. So make sure you guys get your copy of the book. Join us for our September edition of Breakfast with Books with Mr. Ellerbee. Mr. Ellerbee, definitely looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you so very much, Cyrus.
And more than welcome. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, I'm Cyrus Webb. Make it a great one. Take care.
Thank you so much.